As the tanks rolled into Ukraine, our gas prices started rising.
Several stations in Grand Rapids are now sitting at about $3.49 a gallon. News 8's Emily Leonard spoke with Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy about what to expect in the weeks ahead.
Patrick, thanks for joining us. So what are we seeing for gas prices across the Midwest today?
Well, Emily, in Michigan, prices are starting to jump up to that $3.49 a gallon mark. With this big surge in the price of oil this morning, a lot of those racks where stations send their tanker trucks adjusted their prices a bit earlier than normal in light of the big jump. So a lot of gas stations now are raising their price to $3.49 in response to that big jump in the price of wholesale gasoline.
Patrick, how much worse could it get? How bad could this get?
Well, you know, after oil prices surged this morning, things really settled out through the rest of the day. But how bad could it get? I mean, the situation is ongoing and escalations are happening. The U.S. putting severe sanctions on Russia. The back and forth could continue. And I think that by the time we roll around to Memorial Day, we could be spending $4 a gallon or more in West Michigan.
Can you give us a brief history of how this happens? I mean, why do the gas prices jump up when something like this happens? The brief version, because I know it's complicated.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the brief version is anything that happens in any major oil-producing country. Russia is the second largest oil producer, can have ripple effects across the globe. Risk goes up that there could be disruption, and that's what sends prices surging.
I listened to your Facebook Live just a little bit ago, and you were talking about California prices potentially hitting $5 a gallon at some point in the future here, the near future, because of this. How would that ripple effect affect people here in Michigan?
Well, as you mentioned, I mean, California is only 25 cents a gallon away from reaching that $5 average price. So here in West Michigan, I don't think we'll get anywhere close to that. Thankfully, at least not yet. The average price in West Michigan still, you know, well below that. We could eventually get to an all-time record in West Michigan. That would be $4.29, but even that is not a guarantee yet. So we're not out of the woods. Higher prices are coming, and there's little relief in sight. There could be far-reaching effects. Goods that are coming from the West Coast, like you mentioned, could see a surge in prices. You know, there's a lot of hot spots. Diesel prices, keep in mind, even here in West Michigan, are starting to approach that $4 a gallon mark. So as we're seeing that, you know, grocery bills are going up. The cost of transporting goods continues to surge.
What's your job from here on out? How does this affect you? What are you keeping an eye on as the hours actually go by here today?
Well, I'm continuing to watch the back and forth between U.S. and Russia, seeing how the escalations are continuing. That's going to give a lot of insight onto how long this will last and how bad it could get. I'm hopeful that the language is very carefully constructed. You know, Russia holds a lot of keys in this potential. They're a large oil producer. And if they feel pushed to the brink, it's not impossible that they could imperil or slow down their oil exports, which would have far-reaching global effects.
All right, Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy, thank you for taking time for us.
Thanks, Emily.